Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koki. I'm happy to be here, here in Shri Radhavandanishwara Dham. What is the official name of the? What is the official name? Shri Radha Krishna Temple. Okay, Shri Radha Krishna Temple, London. Ki jai. ISKCON. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Madhyam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatani Manchakalpatarubhyasya Kriva Sindhurevasya Patita Bhavaneyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudevi Pranamani Haripriye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasavi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki We're reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 6. The Yadu dynasty retires to Prabhasa. And this is verse number 8, is that right? Okay. Okay, this is going to be in Vasanta Tilaka meter. Tvam māyayā tri-guṇayātmani durvibhāvyaṁ Tvam māyayā tri-guṇayātmani durvibhāvyaṁ vyaktaṁ sṛjasy avasi lumpasi tad-guṇa-sthaḥ
vyaktaṁ sṛjasy tad-guṇa-sthaḥ
vyaktaṁ sṛjasy avasi lumpasi tad-guṇa-sthaḥ
vyaktaṁ sṛjasy lumpasi tad-guṇa-sthaḥ
naitair bhavān ajita karmabhir ajyate
naitair bhavān ajita karmabhir
naitair bhavān ajita karmabhir ajyate
naitair bhavān ajita karmabhir
yat sukhe vyavahite bhirato navadyaḥ yat sukhe vyavahite bhirato navadyaḥ. Who is speaking this verse? Who knows? Yesterday, this was introduced. Who is speaking? Yesterday's verse. Sri Deva Uchu. What is that?
Demigods.
Yes. Okay. So demigods are speaking. Oh, unconquerable Lord, you engage your illusory energy, composed of three modes, to unleash, maintain, and devastate the inconceivable manifest cosmos, all within your own self. As the supreme superintendent of Maya, you appear to be situated in the interaction of the modes of nature. However, you are never affected by material activities. In fact, you are directly engaged in your eternal spiritual bliss, and thus you cannot be accused of any material infection. Purport. The word durvibhāvyam is significant here. The ultimate cause of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material world is certainly inconceivable, even for the greatest mundane scientists who waste their lives in useless and fruitless speculation. Useless and fruitless speculation. Yet Mahavishnu, who is the secondary expansion of an expansion of the Supreme Lord Krishna, sees the entire cosmos to be like an insignificant atom. So what hope is there for foolish so-called scientists who try to understand Krishna by their ridiculous experimental power? Thus the word navadyaḥ is used. No one can find fault or discrepancy in the body, character, activities, or instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is never materially ignorant, therefore he never exhibits cruelty, laziness, foolishness, blindness, or material intoxication. Similarly, because the Lord is never polluted by material passion, he never exhibits material pride, lamentation, yearning, or violence. And since the Lord is free from material goodness, he never attempts to peacefully enjoy the material world with a sublime materialistic mentality. Sublime materialistic mentality. Lord Krishna, as stated here, sukhe vyavahite bhirato, is eternally busy, day and night, in his transcendental abode, relishing the inconceivable loving devotion of his innumerable associates. The Lord is being embraced and is embracing. He is joking and is hearing the joking of his loved ones. The Lord is walking through forests full of fruits and flowers, playing in the nectarian river Yamuna, and taking part in his most confidential, transcendental, loving affairs with the cowherd girls of Vrindavan. These pastimes in Krishna-loka and on other Vaikuntha planets are eternal, faultless, and an ocean of spiritual happiness. The Lord never descends to the dry platform of relative material happiness. The infinite personality of Godhead has nothing to gain from anyone. Thus, fruitive activity cannot possibly exist within the Lord. And so ends the purport to this verse, which I'll read again. It's a bit of a long and somewhat complex prayer. O inconceivable Lord, you engage your illusory energy, composed of three modes, to unleash, maintain, and devastate the inconceivable manifest cosmos, all within your own self. As the Supreme Superintendent of Maya, you appear to be situated in the interaction of the modes of nature. However, you are never affected by material activities. In fact, you are directly engaged in your own eternal spiritual bliss, and thus you cannot be accused of any material infection. The demigods are speaking. Where are they speaking? Where are they meeting the Lord? Here. Where? Yes, in Dwarka. The demigods have come to Dwarka to meet Lord Krishna. They want to see him in his human form. This is something special to see the Lord. They're accustomed to see the Lord of Vaikuntha with 4 arms, looking very grand and very regal. Well, he's still grand and regal in Dwarka, and yes, sometimes it's described he's with 4 arms in Dwarka, but here he is in his human form, and they're preparing to deliver a message to him. And the message is going to be, it's time to come back. You've been here in this world long enough. You've done your job. You've re-established Dharma. You spoke the Bhagavad Gita, and everything's been nicely taken care of. So it's time to come back. We want you back. So they're preparing for that. And what do you do when you meet the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What do you do? What's the first thing you do when you meet the Lord?
Obeisances.
Yes, bow down, mister, right? Bow down, showing that we surrender. This is a gesture of surrender, isn't it? It's a gesture saying, well, you can say it's the gesture of Bali Maharaj, who put his head down so that what? Yes, so Vamanadev, who is now no longer Vamana, he's no longer a dwarf, he's Trivikrama, so that he can put his third step, his lotus foot on his head. So that's a nice meditation as we offer obeisance. We tend to do things in somewhat of a routine way in the course of our spiritual lives, which is as it should be, so we don't have to start over every day completely, okay, what do I do now? What do I do next? So there's some routine there, but it's nice to meditate also on the pastimes of the Lord in relation to what we do in the course of our devotional activities. So bowing down, we can remember Bali Maharaj, that he is bowing to Lord Vamanadev Trivikrama, who is then putting his foot on his head. And then what do? We offer prayers. So the demigods are doing this offering of prayers. I must admit, sometimes I wonder, it's not the first time, it's not the only time that the devas, plural, offer prayers. Shri Devaha, Shri Devaha, Uchu. The devas are offering prayers. So I don't know, could it be that they have, before coming before the Lord, done a bit of rehearsing so that they can all chant these prayers in unison? What do you think? Otherwise, how are they all chanting together the same perfect Sanskrit? Or is it one deva after another? You think it's like that, okay. Well, but I also like to imagine that they're all chanting together in a beautiful chorus. Yes.
But is These prayers, can they be found in like the Samaveda or anything like that? Is it prayers that they would know ultimately?
Well, we won't find these prayers in Samaveda. Samaveda is actually an extract from the Rig Veda, which is then put to music, so to say. The Rig Veda, you have 3 svaras, and then they add 4 more to make it Samaveda. Of course, you can say it's all there in seed form, somehow or other it's there in the Veda, but not, at least as we have it today, you won't find it. Jiva Goswami does say, however, that from the Vedic Samhitas altogether we have perhaps, what does he say, 5% of the whole thing, so maybe it's there. So, yeah, maybe they're familiar, maybe it's no problem. Anyway, they're offering prayers, and offering prayers is, it's praise. It's not that they're trying to bribe the Lord. They actually have a sincere desire to please the Lord, to praise Him, and also to inspire Him so that He will want to do their bidding, which is that He depart from the world. Now, this idea that the Lord might depart from the world is, it seems to get around, or in any case, Uddhava senses that this is going to happen soon. And Uddhava becomes very concerned. Uddhava, we all know, is a very dear friend of Krishna. Actually, they're cousins, isn't it? Yeah, they're very dear. So much so that Krishna consults with Uddhava over important matters of state, but he also, they're, we say in English, bosom buddies. They're really close. And now it's in the air that the Lord is going to leave. So what is Uddhava going to do? He's going to go to Lord Krishna and say, please take me with you. I can't bear the thought of being here without you. And what is the Lord going to say? He's going to say, no, you have to stay here. I'm going to give you instruction, and you have to carry, you have to transmit, you have to be the vehicle for the instruction that I'm going to give. And that instruction is going to be almost the entire remainder of the 11th canto, except for the last 2 chapters. So this chapter is leading up to, it's preparing us for the Uddhava Gita, as it's known, the Uddhava Samvada. And it's, of course, also preparing us for the departure of Krishna. So the demigods are praising the Lord, and they're packing everything in. every feature of the Lord one might imagine, in a sense. They're in a very concentrated way describing His activities in relation to this world. And simultaneously in the same verse, they're saying, you're doing all of this, you're creating the world, you're maintaining it, you're destroying it. Actually, interesting, the translation is nice. Unleash, the word sṛjati, sṛjasi, you create. It has the sense of a kind of spilling over, that the universe kind of spills out of the energy of the Lord. Or here, the idea unleashing, there's this energy and it's being let loose. So the world is getting let loose by the Lord, and then it's getting avasi maintained, of course, and then lumpasi, as unusual word for destruction. I'm guessing that it has to do with also theft, that one takes something. In any case, he does all of this. He has this lila of creating and maintaining and destroying the universe simultaneously, or meanwhile, sve sukhe vyavahite bhirato navadyaḥ, he is enjoying immensely, ever increasingly in his own abode. It's all happening simultaneously. The enjoyment of the Lord is mentioned here to be sve, it's his own. And one could take this also as meaning by himself. So we understand the Lord is Atma Rama. He is one who is pleased in himself. He is satisfied in himself. But then we might wonder about this. How is it that the Lord is satisfied in himself? And also, how is it that he is enjoying in the transcendental sphere if he is also known, and this connects with Diwali, with Ramachandra's pastimes, if he is known as Maryada Purushottama, as the Lord of boundaries, as the Lord of limits, as the Lord of propriety, as the Lord of Dharma. How is that to be understood? How is it to be understood that he is both of these, that he is in this world and he is beyond the world? You may have heard this expression, Maryada Purushottama, yeah? Whether or not that's scriptural, I don't know, but it's a tradition. Ramachandra is known as Maryada Purushottama. It may be something from the Vallabha Sampradaya, but then there's the counterpart of Maryada Purushottama is Lila Purushottama, right? So Krishna is Lila Purushottama, and it is to Krishna that these prayers are now being offered. And there's a third Purushottama, whom for us is very important, and that is Odarya Purushottama. Who is Odarya Purushottama? Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. And we may say that it is Gauranga Mahaprabhu who connects the two, who makes the connection between, on the one side, Dharma, doing everything properly, doing everything according to rules, doing everything within the boundaries of material existence, and the unbounded realm of unbounded love, which is Lila Purushottama, which is Krishna. And this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is he doing to make that link? That's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. But in particular, in chapter 7 of Adi Lila, we read this wonderful description of how Lord Chaitanya with his associates, the Panchatattva, they become plunderers. Usually plunderers are considered bad people. Someone plunders somewhere, they are very terrible people. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva, they are plundering. What is it that they are plundering, and for what purpose are they plundering?
They're storehouse of loving God.
Yeah. There's a storehouse which suggests something which is locked up. They are unlocking something which is, it's there, it's being stored, it's in cold storage maybe. And they are breaking open the locks, they're throwing this storehouse open, and they're taking out all of the contents and they are distributing. Just like baby Krishna, Damodara, he breaks the pot of yogurt, the pot of butter, and what does he do? He distributes it to all of his friends, including the monkeys, his monkey friends. And in a somewhat similar way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing freely the contents of this storehouse together with his friends, the Panchatattva. And they're having a great time doing it. They're having a party. It's nice to reflect, I think, to meditate on the mood of Lord Chaitanya and his associates in Vrindavan. The 6 Goswamis were there actually. There were the 6 prominent Goswamis. There were other sadhus also there. Lokanath Goswami was also there. We don't hear about him so much. Bhugarva Goswami was also there. And to just reflect on how they would come together and they would discuss Krishna Katha. It must have been so wonderful. What a mood of relish, of spiritual enjoyment they must have been swimming in, isn't it? That's our tradition. Our tradition is one of devotees coming together and hearing and discussing Krishna Katha. And also in Puri, there's a rather well-known painting you probably have seen of the devotees in Puri. I believe it's Gadadhar Pandit who is sitting, reciting Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu is there. A few devotees are there. And there's Haridas Thakur is there. It's a kind of humorous painting in some respects because Haridas Thakur is there in his not his gamsha, he's there in his kopans. And it seems he's just taken a bath and he's, hanging up his gamsha or something. And in the front is one devotee who is doing Dandavat Pranam. And the explanation is that this is King Prataparudra, and that it is King Prataparudra who commissioned this painting. It's a common thing. You see it also in European painting. Some wealthy person, some prince, some king will commission a painting, some pious scene in which themselves will be included, so that it's demonstrated their piety. Well, in any case, the point is that this wonderful scene is they're all sitting and they're just listening to Srimad-Bhagavatam, and how, just imagine you could be sitting there with them. Wouldn't that be amazing? No? Yeah? No? Yeah. Oh, we'd have to learn Bengali. So this enjoyment is what's suggested in this verse. Sve sukhe, in his own happiness, which is vyavahite, vyavahita. It is unimpeded. Nava rasa damaludya durantam asit. Nava rasa. It's always fresh, expanding enjoyment that is going on in the spiritual world. Now, the connection to that enjoyment being made by Lord Chaitanya is described by Krishnadas Kaviraj as chamatkar. You know this word chamatkar? Sounds a little familiar. Hindi speakers should know it. Chomot, or Bengali speakers, chomotkar. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Koroho Vichar Vichar Korile Chitte Bhave Chomotkar. Chomotkar means amazement. Huh? Yeah, amazement, something wonderful, something, it's adbhuta. You know the word adbhuta, wonderful. What is wonderful? Krishnadas Kaviraj tells us. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya. What is Daya?
Mercy.
Mercy. The mercy of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Koroha vichar, he says, do some reflection on that mercy. Think about the mercy. Or as Srila Prabhupada translates, if you apply your logic and reasoning, vichara could mean something like that, logic and reasoning. If you apply your logic and reasoning, vichar kolile chitte bhave chamatkar, then your consciousness will gain, will get bhave, will get amazement. You'll be amazed. Think about the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and you will be amazed. So are we amazed by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya? What's so amazing about it? Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, kind of amazing. So what else is new? What is so amazing? What do you think? What is so amazing about Lord Chaitanya's mercy?
Kirtan.
Okay. And what's so amazing about kirtan?
Ecstasy of kirtan.
Ecstasy of kirtan. Okay.
The holy name is descended directly from Goloka Vrindavan, where Chaitanya is giving it freely to everyone.
Yes, that's pretty amazing. All the way from Goloka. That's fairly amazing. Go all the way down from Goloka, right? Through how many layers of the universe? 7 or 10, a lot of layers. No, 7 layers, each one 10 times thicker than the other one. Yeah. All the way through all those layers, the holy name has come. And, very important point, distributed to everyone. Just to human beings? No, to everyone, every living being. This is amazing. For free. There's no charge. Actually, there is a charge. What is the charge? Lolyam or? Shraddha, yes. If you want to take the holy name, there must be faith. However, I would suggest something more about this wonder, that even if someone is not accepting, still they're being benefited. That's pretty amazing. No? In so many religious traditions, you get the benefit, you get the mercy if you accept, if you convert, if you do A, B, C, D, and E. If you do all these things, then you will get the mercy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, just chant Hare Krishna, and even if you can't chant Hare Krishna, we'll chant for you. And you can hear it. And in this way, you will be benefited. This spirit of chanting in any case and glorifying the Lord in any case is not exclusive to our Vaishnava tradition. Just a few days ago, there was a second very big earthquake in Italy. And one place that was hard hit was a town called Norcia. And this is the place where Saint Benedict, who founded the Benedictine monastic order back in I think 5th century, where he lived or where he came from. And there's still a Benedictine monastic group there. And in this earthquake, their basilica was, except for the front facade, it completely collapsed. It was destroyed. So one person was writing about this, speaking about the mood of the monks. And the mood of the monks is, essentially, nothing has changed. We go on with our practice. They have, in the Benedictine order, a quite strict routine of prayers, singing, and so on. And their mood is that by their discipline of practice, this has prepared them for such a situation, for such a condition, that they are prepared, they are ready, their faith becomes resilient, it becomes ready for the worst, so to say. So that kind of spirit is very nice. In any case, our tradition following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a wonderful tradition which is reaching all corners of the world, remote corners of the world. And we want to affect everyone, and we also want that people go deeper into our vision, the vision of the demigods here, to understand who it is that we are all part and parcel of, and how wonderful it is that we are all possessing the possibility, the opportunity to serve this Lord. Srila Prabhupada made it his main mission to translate and to comment the Srimad-Bhagavatam. His main aim, his main purpose was to bring the Srimad-Bhagavatam to the West. It wasn't the first time that the Bhagavatam had been translated. Already in 1840, early 1840s, the Bhagavatam had been translated into French by some scholar named Bournouf. And it had been translated also later, I forget by whom. It was available in America before Prabhupada came. It was available in exactly 2 different editions, one of which was actually essentially a copy of the other one. So essentially there was one copy of the Bhagavatam, and this was in a university library. The other copy was in another university library. And this was known to one professor who found out about the Srimad-Bhagavatam in the, I guess it was the end of the 50s actually, when he started his doctoral work, and he decided he wanted to research the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And so he had to search where are any editions of the Bhagavatam, and he found 2 of them in America. And anyway, eventually he completed his doctoral thesis, sort of an analysis of the Bhagavatam in terms of what it tells about society at the time of its what they call redaction when it has finally appeared in its present form. He had an interesting and rather surprising experience. That was 1962 or I think it was 1962. He finished his thesis and then eventually became a professor. And then he heard that there is some society in New York, that there is a Hare Krishna temple in New York. So he decided to go and check it out with a couple or 2 or 3 of his students. So he went there to 26 2nd Avenue. This was 1968, I believe it was. 1968, he walked into 26 2nd Avenue, and in the little room, which is 26 2nd Avenue, there was one devotee, Western devotee, and there was some sort of book table there. And on the book table was Srila Prabhupada's first 3 volumes of Srimad-Bhagavatam, first canto Bhagavatam. And this professor, his name is Thomas Hopkins, was very surprised. Oh, this is amazing, Bhagavatam. And he looked at it and he was appreciating it very much. And I don't know what it was who caused him to think this might be the case, but he thought that perhaps the author is originally from Bengal, and so he asked the young man, so is your teacher, is your guru, is he from Bengal? And the young fellow answered, no, he's from India. So the professor could understand these people they're very sincere, but they're really just beginning in the process. So the point is that Srila Prabhupada brought the Srimad-Bhagavatam to the West, and of course we know he managed to translate up through chapter 13 of Canto 10, and then he instructed his disciples, Hridayananda Goswami in particular, and I believe others as well, that they should complete his work. And I once met one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers some years ago in South India, and this was before it became controversial that one would meet and spend any time with a godbrother of Srila Prabhupada. This was actually a very, very dear friend of Srila Prabhupada, and this godbrother was kind of preaching to me. He said, you, meaning you, ISKCON, this was before the rest of the 10th, 11th, and 12th cantos were finished. He said, you must finish that work. You must finish it. It's very important. So, of course, now it is finished, although not in so many languages as we have the rest of the Bhagavatam. This is all to do a little bit of, dare I say, advertising. Myself and my dear friend Radhika Raman Prabhu in America over the last 5 years have been preparing one abridged Bhagavatam. This is called The Bhagavata Purana Selected Readings. And it's taken us so long to do this because of so many duties we have, but also because we have translated we have made our own translations from the Sanskrit of approximately 10% of the Bhagavatam, taking selections from each of the 12 cantos. And I mention this because I'm rather happy it's finally coming out. It's just been printed a few days ago, so any day now it should be available. So I'm looking forward to offering a copy to Srila Prabhupada. This book is being distributed by the publisher. It's an academic publisher, Columbia University Press. They're aiming specifically at universities for use by university students. And of course, our hope is that this will lead some students to go for the full Bhagavatam for reading. So this is it's a very small part, but it's part of establishing the culture in which the Srimad-Bhagavatam can be appreciated, so that the Bhagavatam takes its place in the Western world as an essential component of spiritual culture. Put it that way. Yeah, so we can say finally that the Devas, in offering such prayers as this, are expressing their wonder. So just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mercy is wonderful when we appreciate what it is, and that mercy connects us to the wonder which is Krishna in his pastimes in the spiritual world and in creating this world simultaneously. All of this becomes a whole network of wonder that we are participating in. It's not something that we look at from the outside, but we participate in. That is called bhakti. Bhakti actually, it means sharing, and sharing means participation. So we have this great fortune. We are invited to participate in the plundering program. Yes. Prantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Any further comments or questions? Yes. Puri, yes. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Lord Chaitanya only spent about 2 months in Vrindavan. There was a problem in Vrindavan. It's not the same problem that there is today. When you go to Vrindavan, there's another sort of problem. The problem in Vrindavan now is that it's becoming a suburb of Delhi. There's so much construction going on. He saw it. Lord Chaitanya's life was constantly in danger. Why? Sometimes he would dive into the Yamuna and he wouldn't surface again. He would just go down. And, Balabhadra, I guess he was a good swimmer, and he would go diving in to drag him out. And this was going on day after day after day, and at one point, Balabhadra said, Prabhu. Sometimes he would be addressed simply as Prabhu. You'll see it Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhu is a very strong, honorific Prabhu. It's too much. I can't take it anymore. Could we please leave Vrindavan? I just can't be saving you every day from drowning in the Yamuna. And Lord Chaitanya says, all right. He submits because of Vipralambha. That's why. And of course, there's a practical side to it, you could say as well, and that is his mother requested him to stay in Puri. Now, we don't know, it's, to my knowledge, not recorded anywhere, how many years after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas before Mother Sachi departed the world. But in in any case, that was her order, request to stay in Puri because then I would at least get some news about you because of the regular passage of devotees between Bengal and Puri. So that's the understanding that Puri is the place of the mood of separation. And of course that's what the Ratha Yatra is all about. For the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there's different perspectives. What is this Ratha Yatra about? But for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it's about bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. Right? So he's every day relishing that mood. And so every day Lord Chaitanya would go into the temple and chant, but we understand he would keep it at a distance because again, too much ecstasy, if he would go too close to Lord Jagannath, he might faint. First time he goes into the temple, Krishnadas Kaviraj tells us, what does he do? He faints. And it's a whole action to deal with a fainted Lord Chaitanya in the temple. So he agrees after that, okay, I'll keep myself controlled. So he keeps himself some distance by the Garuda Stamba and so on. But what does he do there? He chants in kirtan with the devotees every day. So and it's reported that all kinds of people would come. And in Puri, there's all kinds of different philosophies or theologies about who is Lord Chaitanya, who is Subhadra, who is Balaram. Some are worshipping Balaram as Lord Shiva, and on. There's all kinds of ideas. And there's, Advaitavadins, and you name it, they're all there. They would all come because Lord Chaitanya was so attractive. They would all just join in kirtan. Lord Chaitanya was not saying, no, we don't, you guys are not proper Vaishnava. Whoever would chant, let them chant.